class, I worked with the disabled in a work center. I helped them find jobs out in the community. So I had a pretty good respect for them when I started that job. It was kind of scared, nervous, didn't really know what to expect, but they taught me a lot and I grew to respect them.
Well, I didn't really have a strong opinion of people with disabilities. I dealt with little kids with disabilities and that was about it. So, I don't know, I feel like if I would have interacted with adults with disabilities, I might have treated them like I would have treated the kids with disabilities. So,
I'd say before the class I had probably not a negative view of people with disabilities, but overall kind of a sympathetic view of people with disabilities. It's just the way I was always raised was to maybe feel bad for them in a way because of their disabilities. Whether or not that's right or wrong, that was just kind of how I was raised in a world of don't make a scene, don't be rude, kind of childhood. So I think that was probably how I would view them, was just very sympathetic for their situation.
Before this class, I think I looked at people with disabilities more based on their disability and not so much them as a person. I would take the time to care about them, but it would be more, I guess, in the idea of pity and caring about the fact that they had a disability instead of taking the time to get to know them, which would actually be better and more beneficial to them as a person. After taking the survey for the first time, I think I realized that I looked more at people with disabilities instead of trying to form relationships. Like, a lot of my questions were like I would deal with them in situations and I would care about their situation, but all of the more personal questions were harder to be accepting and appreciating them as people and as people that I could be in relationships or friendships with.
After taking the survey for the first time, I was a little shocked. I had always considered myself good with people with disabilities. I think when looking at it, I kind of felt like I was just being more tolerant than good with people with disabilities. I didn't really look at their situation or anything. I just looked at kind of how I was supposed to act around them, so I didn't really take time to understand them as people. So I think I really was just I was just trying to be more tolerant and not awkward than anything, and I think that was one thing that really stood out to me after the first survey.
Okay, I felt pretty good about my results. They were pretty much what I expected them to be. They showed that I was really positive and I was looking forward to helping them out as much as possible.
It was a little shocking. For some of them, I put some responses that I probably would have put after the class. So, I don't know, I was pretty critical to start out. So.
A selfish kind of love, it's time that I realize.
Well, when I got to work with a little kid that had a disability, and she was really awesome. So just interacting with her and talking with her about her personal life, I didn't even think about her disability or any of that. So just getting over that hump and just telling that she was.
I'd say during service learning, the thing that had the biggest impact on me was probably just joy that the children had. I mean, I worked at Cadra and they came, they got their lesson, they wrote courses, and that was all they did, and they loved it, and they really enjoyed everything they do. So I think for me, as I mentioned before with how I used to kind of feel sympathetic, it kind of opened up my eyes to that in some cases they were having a better time than I would, and I think it was a real eye-opener that their disability isn't what's defining them. It's something they have, but they're still able to find joy and have a meaning life outside of their disability. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I can.
During service learning, I got to walk the horses around and walk the kids through the obstacle courses. And one of the kids was struggling with a speech disability or problem, and he was having trouble remembering to say just the word. He'd always say something before. So telling a horse to say walk when people told him to say walk. So instead of that, I would ask him what he was going to tell the horse, and he would say walk. And then eventually by the end of the day, he was mostly saying that it was interesting to see like different ways of interacting with the kid and how he would learn and get happier and more vocal as he figured it out. And then during Special Olympics, there was the kid that I was with was a really sweet individual who would always be checking on me to see if I was happy and having fun more than I was even noticing if he was having a good day. And then there was another kid while they were running the races that would stop and wait for his friend just to make sure that they both finished the race. And we're happy together. It's just a really sweet thing to watch.
My biggest impact was classmates and just being there with the parents and seeing how they handled the whole situation. And it was just an eye-opening experience and really brought a lot of happiness and a lot of more respect to how I see people.
After this class, I think I can view people with disabilities more based on who they are as a person instead of what they are limited by or what they can't necessarily do. And because of this, I feel more inclined to engage them in parts of life that they can experience and share with me and be more of a friend and accepting individual.
I pretty much view people the same. I gained more respect since I found out a lot more about the issues that was concerning them. I gained a lot more respect and a lot more appreciation for everything they go through. And it's just an eye-opening experience, and I know I'll love to continue working with them as the life goes on.
I could probably treat them more equal than I would have before. I wouldn't belittle them like I probably would have before the class, and just treat them like typical people. So, yeah.
After the class, I think I have a much more accepting view of people with disabilities. As I talked about before, I think before I was much more focused on their disability and their needs rather than just who they are as a person. And I think now that's something that I focus on more, is just getting to know the person, not getting to know the disability. So I think that's definitely the biggest thing that I've learned in during this class, was just improving my knowledge with interacting with people with disabilities and understanding that it's not their disability that defines them, it's who they are that defines them. After the class, I think I have a much more, I don't want to say accepting view of people with disabilities. I think I have a much more, I don't know if that's
Which question?
All right, Tessa, last question in 3, 2, 1.
After this class, I think I view people with disabilities as more I have words, but they're not ready yet. Go. Stop that, and I can do it again. Let me finish.
Oh, okay.
Hey, go. Well, I don't. Go for it. Somebody answer.
What's the question?
Oh my gosh, Tessa. Oh my gosh.
Okay, that's for the blooper reel.